Hello and welcome back. Today we have three DC electronic loads. They are borrows again from my friends of the Eleshop, and they are in the same price range. I have two from two respectable Chinese brands, the Siglent and the Rigol, and I have a third brand, Korad, that is maybe more known for the power supplies, but electronic load power supplies comes very close, so they probably know what they are doing. Why I picked these three brands is because in the mid-range they are all the same price, and all three also have a higher resolution model, and they are also in the same price, so that would be great to compare them. I will do a quick hands-on with all three, and then later I will do separate videos in more detail, so if you're then interested in one, you can watch that video, otherwise it will be way too long. First, have a quick look what they give in the box. Siglent gives a long power cable and a USB cable, and the little booklet, that's about it. With the Rigol you get also power cable, also USB, but they provide also spare fuses and a little booklet. That's nice, some extra fuses and some extra screws. Not sure, it seems like some sort of a protection cover for something. I think you can cover this. If you have a permanent connection, you can cover this, I think. Yeah, oh, it's with magnets and also with the screw. If you are on high voltages, this probably makes sense. Then the Korad provides a power cable, the CD and the booklet. You get a USB cable. You get also a serial cable, 9-pin serial. You get banana with alligator. I think this is up to, I don't know, 10 amps maybe. It's not that big. And they give proper load cables. This should be able at least 50 amps, I would think. Look at this. That is nice. It's the only one that provides proper cables. It is AWG10, 200 degrees. When we look at the front, we clearly see that the Siglent, the SDL1020X, is the smallest of the three, and also has the smallest display. The terminals look very thick, which is good. I don't see holes for the bananas, but it is this nice look that Siglent has nowadays. It looks nice and clean, and it's not that big. Then we have the Korad, size-wise, it's in the middle, and yeah, it looks a little bit less modern. It has a bigger display. I think this is 2 by 3 inches and this is 2 by 4. It has the display also on the other side and the other designs that we see here. It does have the banana and it has the normal terminals as well. But yes, it does look a little bit older in design. And here we have the Rigol. The Rigol is the biggest. Also in the back, if we look later, it's also modern, what we know from Rigol. It's a proper brand. Has a lot of buttons, I must say. Here we have a look from the side. Here the Siglent with this well-known foot or arm that you can twist, so you can tilt it if you want. We have the Korad here, almost the same size, and with also foldable feet that you can switch also to the back if you want. And then we have the Rigol. The Rigol is the biggest of them all. It sticks out here on the back, and doesn't have any feet. If you are a bit short in space, you can of course remove these protection, and then it is about the same size as the Korad. But if we look here at the Siglent, then the Siglent will be the shortest, like this. From the back, let's have a look at all the I/O. The Siglent has USB, LAN, RS-232, and the sense wires, because the sense wires are not in the front, and that could be a little bit of a downside if you're actually using that. It does have an I monitor and a V monitor on the back. Then we look at the Korad. It is the most simple. It does have RS-232 USB and LAN, but I don't see any digital I/O, although here we have an on-off and a trigger switch that we can use, but that is about it. I don't see an I monitor and a V monitor. Then we have the Rigol. We have two digital I/Os here, LAN, USB, RS-232, so very comparable, and the V monitor and the I monitor. The Rigol and the Siglent are clearly the more advanced. We have a look at the Siglent here. There are no sense wires in the front and also no bananas in the front. There is a nice USB here. There is a normal power switch, I like it. Here also USB, a normal power switch, sense wires in the front with this plus. Here also bananas, but sense wires in the front and also a real power button. It's a real challenge to put them all on my desk, so I will do later one by one. But let's see how fast they all boot. This one I switched on later, it's already there. Rigol is still booting. Siglent is already awake. So let's start with the Siglent. We have a closer look here. I like you have the constant current, you clearly see in what mode you are. The display is smaller, but by using the lights here, you know exactly what you're doing. Input on off, it's the same color. Okay, maybe having a red one or an orange one to clearly notify, okay, that's an output. So we're in constant current, and we can set the encoder, I think. Yeah, encoder feels good, but it is slow. It's a different shape also than Siglent usually has, but you can also do your arrows up and down, and you probably can just type in directly also. Yeah, okay, looks good, but you cannot do very fast. But it's not needed because you can just puff. There it is, 10.5. And we can set the voltage up to 150 or up to 36 volts. Same here with the amps, 30 amps or 5 amps. I'm not sure what the difference is. Maybe the resolution will change when you do that. Display, you can see the wave of the load. Okay, the Rigol looks nice. Huge display, big digits, and yeah, only this is very small. I don't see immediately in what mode I am. I see here a little bit in the corner it says CC and static, but there are no lights on the buttons where I am right now. That is a pity. And if I am in current, it is all very, very small, and they have such big display, so this was not needed. This encoder seems to respond better. Let's go to 40 amps, and then we can just type 15. Enter. The enter button is not on the right but in the top, but that works. Did it do 40 or no? 40. Go back. No, it's a delete button, it's not the enter button. 10. Then how I confirm. Okay. Yeah, okay. So yeah, they could have used this better. It has some tricks here. Battery program, OCP. Back to this, and here they use the lights and not here, so okay. Then we have the Korad, a little bit of old-fashioned look. square corners. It is, yeah, it's an older look. It looks simpler. You'll clearly see where you are. Constant current, constant voltage, constant watts, or constant resistance. I like that you can clearly see. Also, the on off button is a light, but I also choose to have it green. The current is here, it's quite big. Encoder is a lot faster than the other two, but you can also directly type, or if you prefer you can do little digits, and as you see we are in the milliamps there, and you can select here your modes, but also here, and then it moves also there. Korad choose to always have the wave menu in the screen, so not like the Siglent, you need to choose it, and in the Rigol also, but here it's always there, and it just starts running. Oh, it's already here. You can see something happening in the bottom here. What I do notice is that the Rigol, because they are all not having any load right now, but the Rigol is making noise already with this ventilator. You probably hear the noise everywhere, but when I start this one, when I switch it off, it's completely silent. So this one doesn't make a noise. This one doesn't make a noise. But maybe on full load, the Korad will make the most noise, but we find out because. And then it's gone. So I want to see later in full load which will be the most noisy. So we have the Siglent here, and there are two models in this range. I have here the SDL1020X, and that is the one with a better resolution here. You have an extra digit in the back here compared to the 1020XE. And this one has 200 watts. So the lower model is around 525, I think, and this one is immediately like 700, and that is about the only difference I could find between them. That is the resolution. But the Siglent is full options. It has OCP, OVP, OPP, OTP, and LVR, so that is overcurrent protection, over voltage protection, over power protection, over temperature, and local voltage return. And so it is full of options, and yeah, I just want to see what we can do. And oh yeah, I forgot. I'm so used with my Kunking to use these bananas. I made it with quite big cables, but of course it doesn't work. So I'm going to use the cables from the Korad. So here in the back we have 15 volts with 40 amps. So a lot of power. It is it's more than it can handle here. It can do 200 watts. But we slowly increase the power, and then we keep an eye on everything. This is kind of in the way, so you need to do it like this then. Let's see, 30 amp range. We want current. Let's do 1 amp. Output on, and we should have also around this 15.7 watts. Yeah, well, it works exactly as we expect. 15 watts, almost an amp. They almost agree. That's weird actually, because I say it is an amp and we are the one controlling it, so why is there a difference? Cannot be the resistance of the cable because we are in constant current mode. So apparently there is a calibration difference between these two. Well, let's get some more current. Let's go to 10. Yeah, no problem. it is still completely quiet. I hear no ventilator, so we're doing 150 watt of the 200 that we can do, and the sound it's still quiet. The noise that we hear is actually from the power supply here. It is doing 52. This is below. Still no noise. Let's go close to the 200 that it can do to see if it will start to make noise. Oh, we are actually doing now a little bit above. We are now 203 watts. It is still doing that. It's not making any noise yet. Now you hear slowly the ventilator, but still my power supply makes more noise. So let's try quickly to go higher to see what will happen. 13 amps, we are still on 203 watts. Oh. Bloop, overpower. So the overpower protection works in that sense. How do we? It recovers quite easy. I like it. The controls are intuitive. I don't think it will get much noise here. Very nice. So the Siglent seems to be built for a lot more power, to be honest, because it didn't even break a little bit of a sweat. And yeah, the Rigol immediately starts to make noise. This will annoy me, I think. I didn't do anything yet, and I can already hear the noise. Almost 60. Let's put 1 amp, 40 amp range. We also see a lot of digits. This one is the same. The pricing was around 525 for the non-A model. This is the DL3021. This is the Rigol DL3021A. And you also get that extra digit here and extra digit here. And the I/O module on the back is a little bit more advanced. And the display is more colorful than the normal. That is the difference for that. Let's see if we do 1 amp. Okay. I'm looking somehow for the enter button in the wrong place, but it is here. Where is my on off? It is here. Okay, do we have load? Yes. That took a while, by the way, for the readout. It takes I didn't notice that on the Siglent because I switched it on. It immediately poof, poof. There is some delay there, but okay. Go a little bit higher. This one is also 200 watts, by the way. So we are now also on its limit, and immediately it starts to make even more noise, and the Siglent didn't break a sweat at all. Let's see if also it works with the protection. 218, it still goes. 230, 250. It goes a lot higher than. We are pushing it now to 310 watts, and it is only 20 watts. It's 200 watts. It says here on the top, but you can easily run it higher. Okay, that is funny. It seems you can shortly run it a little bit higher, and then it will go in overprotection. 230 watt. Mm. 300 watts, puff, then it goes. So even though it says 200, you can run it to 300. Then we have the Korad. The Korad is a bit simpler, and also with their system. Here I have also bananas, but well, let's use the power cables here. I also noticed that the Rigol has the positive on the right, the Siglent has it on the left, and the Korad also has it on the left. The Korad here looks a bit more simple, and also the cell system is a bit more simple. They just say we have two models, they are all full option. The only thing is that you get 300 watts, which is more than the other two for the 500, and you get here 500 watts for the 700 euros. So this one gives you the most power for your money. How noisy will it be? The current is in a weird value by the way now. How is that? So if I say now 1 amp, switch it on. Here we have the power, more, go to 10 amps, and 10 amps here and 10 amps here. So the readout is in both the same and even there. So it is pretty well calibrated. Let's go to this 200 watts, what we did with the other ones. But we have here 500 watts, so we can go a lot higher. I need to keep track of my power supply and my cables if I go a lot more. And now it starts to make noise, and a lot. But we are also close to the 500 watts here. And it is controlling the current pretty cool. Here is 30 and this is 29,999, which is pretty nice. And my power supply is also still going. Can I go a bit more? 500 watts. Maybe we can get it a little bit higher. Oh, yeah. At 520 we are running. Cool. And my power supply is on the limit there. But it's very noisy now. Let's go down to see how long it takes before it goes down. This is really noisy. 77 almost. Okay, well now it took about 30 seconds and now the noise has gone. But it is really noisy. There is nothing in between. It is on or off, and when it is on, it is on. You will know it's on. But it doesn't matter because we are actually dealing with a high load, and in idling you don't hear it. But the Siglent for now was the most silent. I want to see if I can get to the 40 amps. This one and the Rigol both go to 40 amps while the Siglent only does 30 amps. Now I'm actually just testing my power supply there because it should be able to go to 40. Yeah, it can. When we have a look at the software, of course, with Siglent, this is very well done. You can just download it here, and you also find the firmware. Here we have the latest software. Well, I'm not gonna play with the firmware, but the firmware is available on the website. Then we go to Rigol. We also have a little archive of the software. I will also download it, but it is just there, available here even. The firmware, I'm also not going to play with the firmware, but it is available on the website, and there you can see that it is a proper respected brand. But if I go to the Korad, which is great because you get 500 watts for the same amount of money that you get with Siglent for the 200 watts, and the same for the Rigol. So you get a lot of power, but the software is not available, so you need to get it from the CD. They give you a CD, and I also sent an email, and within 2 days I had the software in my email. But there is a difference. It is not on the website, and I don't see any firmware also. So I've been working with them for now 6 hours, so let's say 2 hours each, but I also installed the software, and of course I'm filming. So at least 30 minutes each I could actually work on the devices. So I can give you my first impression. It's not really a review because I haven't tested any of the advanced options, but also I'm not an advanced user. And some people would say, did you test the rental? Which one is the cleanest? I don't know, because I would have, I need a battery because all my power supplies here are still just power supply. So that, are we looking then at the rimble of my power supply or at the batteries? And I don't have a battery right now. So that on that we need to trust the specifications. But I have a pretty good idea what I like and what I not like about them. So what we know from now is that the Siglent is the smallest, also has the smallest display, but is the most silent. 200 watts, 30 amps. While these two with a bigger display and bigger size can actually go to 40 amps. This one, the Rigol, is also 200 watts, but you can push it to 300 and it doesn't complain. The Korad is 500 watts. That is the best money for your buck, but it is noisy when the ventilator goes on, but it will only do that when it actually is needed, because when idling it's silent, but when it goes, and the Rigol has a constant sound. So if we look at the Siglent, you can see they have the most experience making these electronic loads, because functionality wise it works pretty good. I like all the indications where the buttons are, and it just works. The downside, I don't like the software at all. It is very slow. The install process was very easy, but just working with it, connecting to the LAN, you wait 30 seconds. Even starting the applications, I wait 30 seconds. And my computer is not that slow, but that really annoyed me. And I hear also from other users that they prefer just to use the USB export while running long tests. So that is the Siglent. That if you are an advanced user, that would be probably your choice. And then we have the Rigol. It looks great. I must say that I like the bigger display. The only thing is that they don't have indication what mode you are in. So here it says in the corner CC. But why so small? There is no light like we have here. Here you can immediately see what it is doing. And they have such a big display, so if they could have made it bigger and just indicate with red or something, or orange, and when you switch it on make it red, they have so much possibilities they can do, but they just didn't do it. Also some of the button placements are a bit weird, like the enter button is here in the top instead of in the corner. So I somehow I didn't feel it. I was looking all the time for the buttons, but it looks amazing. The software looks proper. You need to install the whole Rigol framework, like 600 megabytes. After you install the framework, the software is very smooth. They have this virtual control that you are actually looking at the front of the power supply. That looks really cool. I have seen that with Siglent also, but somehow they didn't do that for the electronic load. And another thing is, it is idling now and it is making noise. So I think if you are in a workshop, that is not a problem, but in your home lab, it is really annoying. So I will switch that off. And then we have the Korad. Well, Korad is clearly a more basic device. Everything looks a little bit more simple. But I immediately found all the buttons that I needed to do, and for the same amount of money, you have 500 watts. It looks a bit massive and big, but it is actually the same size as the Rigol. It's actually a little bit smaller. It's also less deep, which is great if you need to fit it somewhere in a stack. If you are an advanced user, this will probably not be your choice. But I'm actually a simple user, so this could be it. And the software is also very simple. But it does what it needs to do, and they even had a little bit of a network and serial debugging tool. So you can send directly all your commands to it. I like that because then you have a little bit more control of that. And while these only had a USB cable and a power cable, we got even this very nice AWG10 cables, so high quality, and it's all like silicon soft. So yeah, you get a lot of power, a lot of accessories. That is what I liked. So in short, if you already have a lot of Rigol devices, you probably would go for a Rigol if you're doubting between these two. If you are a Siglent user, you would absolutely go for the Siglent, and it is quite advanced. And if you just want simple, then you go for the Korad because you get a lot of power for your money. So even though we didn't do a deep dive into the devices, I hope this was somehow helpful to make your decision. And thank you for watching. Hope to see you next time.